Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 15 of Taste the Trail.
Woot woot.
I know we're getting done with our third week.
That's kind of hard to believe.
Wow.
Yeah. No, I can believe it.
Yeah. We've been feeling every episode.
Yeah. Lots of good whiskey. Lots of good
whiskey. I know. And especially after last night where we had lots of good whiskey and because it was really tasty and we had lots of varieties of whiskey. Mm-hmm. And then our kids woke me up.
Oh, yeah.
4:55 in the morning, and I've been awake since. So, yay. Hey.
Yeah, I woke up about 20 minutes later when I finally heard stuff going on. Sorry.
Yes. And then you went back to sleep.
Well, I was like, you want to go back to bed? And you're like, I can't go to sleep anymore. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. See you late.
At least one of us should sleep.
Yeah. But anyway, welcome to everybody. Thank you so much for joining us again. And thank you, as always, for joining us on the Taste the Trail. We have one more week after this week or after
That's
tonight,
right.
But tonight we have somebody really special because it's one of the oldest distilleries in Texas.
That's right.
One of the OG distilleries again. And it's Spirit of Texas Distillery in Pfluggerville. And if you're not from Texas, you know that Pfluggerville is not spelled with an F. It is spelled with a PH.
I don't know that I could spell it right now if I had to.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. Pfluggerville. Yeah? Yes!
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, I just see Pflugger. Oh, there it is. Yay!
But so this is Pfluggerville, Texas, if you can see that right there.
Yeah.
Oops, there we go. Pfluggerville. And it is just northeast of Austin, of downtown Austin. Little suburb, but it's a beautiful little area over there. And Spirit of Texas has a great distillery there.
Yeah, and it's actually the one distillery on the trail that I actually have not been to yet. Which
I know.
I cannot believe.
It's horrible.
But like when we onboarded them, I can't remember what was going on, but I couldn't go with you. And then you were up there for another event one time, and like we had sick kiddos, and it just is what it is. So I am super, super excited. They joined the trail late December, early January, right? And so they're on the official completion tour this year. So
they are.
I'm excited.
So you don't get a sticker until you visit them.
I don't.
I should have brought our completion sticker.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So Brad says, "Welcome to the Ville."
Aw, thanks, Brad. I've driven by the distillery.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have.
So one step at a time. We'll get
so
up there.
Again, Spirit of Texas Brew Still. It's actually a brew distillery, so they have brewing and distilling. So it's weird. We didn't plan this, obviously, but just the alphabetical way, for whatever reason, all of the brew distilleries on the trail all went back to back.
So Real Ale and Ranger Creek, they're considered a brew distillery as well?
I mean, brew distillery is not a technical term. It's just kind of a term of art, but it is a brewery and a distillery. They're kind of two different licenses, but it's in the same company. Okay. Right?
See, I'm learning something like every single night.
Yeah, exactly.
That's good. Yeah.
Anyway, so we are going to have a couple of folks on. We're going to have Mike on because Shaun, who's the founder and owner of Spirit of Texas, just got done with the surgery and was not feeling very good. And everybody, don't worry, it's not COVID or anything like that. But he's not going to be able to join us tonight. So Mike is going to join in his stead, and we're going to have him on. We were having a little bit of technical difficulties earlier tonight, so if it doesn't work very well,
fingers crossed. We had him like shut down the computer and log back on, and we'll see if it works.
We'll see. But before we get into that, we also have another special guest who's another one of our favorite people in the world, Alicia Hall.
Yes.
And that's kind of her home distillery. That's where she kind of got into whiskey too. So we wanted to talk with her about that.
Yeah.
So, but before we do that, I wanted to, make one more appeal to everybody who hasn't done so yet. Please go to TexasWhiskeyTrailStore.com, buy one of the t-shirts. The t-shirts that we have available are the Still Strong TX t-shirts. And these are things that you can do to support our efforts to keep the distilleries that are producing hand sanitizer within the state of Texas. It would be greatly appreciated if you haven't already to go ahead and do that now. And you'll actually get to meet Alicia, who is going to be the one that packages your shirt and sends it to you as our trail coordinator. So we're really excited to have her doing that with us. And I shouldn't say excited. We are eternally grateful to have her do this for us.
That is the understatement of the century.
Yes. So anyway, go to TexasWhiskeyTrailStore.com. Check it out. There's also other fun stuff there that you can buy, including, and we have never pitched this entire time, but it's behind us the whole time.
Oh,
the Texas flag and the neck pillow and the glass that you can get, the mug, or sorry, the certified.
Yeah,
Texas
we don't have the
whiskey
mug out tonight, but it's our work from home or whiskey from home.
Yeah, it's the WFH package, the whiskey from home package.
Yeah. So, yeah, we actually got the blanket and the pillow for our kids because they wanted one as well.
Yeah.
And they fight over it in the car.
Yes.
Or they want to like try to share it. And so
yeah,
it's a big hit all around.
I'm telling you folks, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
So we're going to go ahead and see if we can bring Mike on. Mike, Mike Hershey, why don't you join us here and see if you can hear us now. Can you hear us? And we hear you?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes! We did.
Great success.
Praise Jesus.
Oh my goodness.
We're breaking out the Sarah Got It Right dance.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Mike, it's fantastic. This is like so much better than before. You've got some fans in the comments already. Yeah. So I think we should,
really?
Oh yeah. We should in fact, this one was posted like literally a second after we posted the video last night from Woody. Woody's like, I love all Texas Whiskey Trail distilleries, but this is my home distillery.
Yeah.
So
can't be Dale.
Yeah, exactly. So you got some fans in the comments already. We're really excited to have you tonight. Why don't you tell everybody how Shaun's doing, and because I know some people were expecting to see him tonight, but could you tell us how he's doing and make sure that everything's fine there?
Yeah, he's doing all right. He's healing. His surgery went off without a hitch. And so he's back at the house now. He got there a couple hours ago, and he called me wanting to do the stream, but I kind of had to tell him to speak up because he's, I might be able to make it in. I don't know. And he really needs to heal. He's doing good, but it's that healing pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get it.
It's best for him to sit down and enjoy the home. Yeah,
I had a back surgery literally right before all this COVID stuff happened, and it feels like just one big blur since then,
Mm-hmm.
But so
at least you're doing more sitting,
Yeah, that's true.
That's good.
Yeah.
So Shaun, you're in our prayers, buddy. Get well soon. We'd love to have you talk about this, but since you can't, we're going to drink without you. No offense.
In your honor.
Yes.
We're drinking not without him, in his honor.
We're drinking without him in his honor.
Yeah, like that.
But Mike, if you don't mind, we'd like to bring on Alicia as well. Alicia,
bring her.
Our trail coordinator. Alicia, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Well,
Alicia,
it's good to see you. It's good to. I feel like we, see you a lot because we're always talking and always on the phone. But like, we actually really haven't seen you much. Like maybe twice physically in the past like 3 to 6 weeks. Something like that.
I got to see Sarah, what was it, yesterday?
Yeah.
I guess it was yesterday. And so that was kind of a nice surprise, but from 6 feet away and with masks on and all that fun stuff.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, and the night before I went up there, I had a dream that I saw her somewhere because I guess I knew I was going to go drop some things off. And I gave her a hug, and everyone around us was like, "What are you doing? That's not social distancing." I was like, "Oh no, it's made it to my dreams."
Yeah. It's bad. It's like become a way of life when it's part of your every night dreams.
It's bad. So I'm glad we at least have this to kind of connect with one another and see each other's faces and hang out and all that good stuff.
Oh, look at this. Shaun says, "Cheers, guys." Thank you, Shaun. There he is, man. Appreciate you.
Excellent.
Get well, buddy. So as you can tell, there's comments live in the stream. So if you want to make comments and have questions, please do. But Mike, let's get to Spirit of Texas. Why don't you give just a little brief history of the distillery and the brewing operation that you have, and how long you've been working there, and how long the whole organization has been around?
Okay. Well, Spirit of Texas was founded in 2009. It was founded by Shaun and another partner, and they originally working in the tech field and kind of wanted a way to get away from that. And of course, let's make beer. Austin is full of award-winning breweries, however, and so the prospect kind of changed to maybe we should do something distillery oriented. There wasn't that many distilleries at the time in Texas. We're actually the 11th distillery in Texas.
Okay.
And at the time there was, I believe, one other whiskey. And so the idea was to make whiskey, but that definitely is a long-term prospect. And so we decided to make rum, kind of to get us there. And the first product we released was our Pecan Street Rum. It's aged on American oak and Texas pecans. I know this is a whiskey forum.
No, it's fine.
It is delicious.
We don't discriminate.
We've talked about a lot of different spirits so far. We talked about like Sotols and gins and Jennifers and everything. So we're all good.
Good. Well, so it was kind of a fluke. Shaun, one day during the development process, during the aging of their first rum, threw some pecans in the age, and overnight it took color, it took flavor, it took smell, and that's kind of what started us off. And the vision obviously was to make whiskey eventually, and we kind of waited on it, and we released our Pflugger single malt whiskey about 4 years ago now, 4 years ago in this April. 3 years ago, excuse me. And we got a gold medal on our very first batch, which was surprising. We knew it was really good, but it's nice to be vetted by someone else that. And
it's not just a gold medal; it's a gold medal from the San Francisco Spirits Competition, right?
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah. We won also another gold medal from the ADIA, the American Distilleries Institute, for their American whiskeys category. Yep. And we also won most recently a best in class in China, a double gold. We also won the Texas Whiskey Fest best single malt whiskey in Texas 2 years in a row. Most recently, that was enjoyable. We've been putting it out for a while. We just released our 10-4 Reserve right here.
Mm-hmm. Which I'm excited to try.
It's delicious. We had been wanting to make a reserve batch, and we kind of had a mix up with the yeast and made a totally different product and decided to age it for 4 years. And it was released on our 10-year anniversary with a little bit of delay, but we got it out there, and it's tasty and delicious.
Awesome.
Well, so if you don't mind, like we talked about this, I think, when we did our kind of intro video with you a while back, when we did our little intro to the Welcome to the Association video. But it does seem like a lot of distilleries start a distillery with the hope of making a whiskey, but obviously that takes time, effort, and a lot of planning,
that's right,
financially or otherwise. But what was it about whiskey that drew you to want to be a part of this? And you could probably speak for Shaun too, but what was it about whiskey that was like, we're going to do whiskey?
Well, I mean, I don't want to completely speak for Shaun's heart on the matter, but
and feel free to get in the comments, Shaun. We can add you in there.
Right. He can refute anything I say immediately in the comments. But whiskey's kind of the holy grail. Whiskey's a tricky thing to master. It's a tricky thing to bring out some of those subtle flavors. Oak is something where it's part of the industry. Those flavors are very strong, and with the right touch. I mean, you can find it in rums and tequilas and other things aged on wood, but whiskey really has a way of bringing out some of these beautiful sugars and beautiful sweet flavors and making new things. And I think that was kind of what drove him to want to make whiskey. Plus, it's absolutely delicious. I got started with the distillery, I guess 5 years ago now, and they were just making rum at the time. But the product was spectacular. I liked brewing beer. I liked drinking beer. I liked having whiskey. I wasn't as knowledgeable as I am now, I guess, about whiskey at the time, but I could definitely taste quality. And there's a stark difference between a terrible product and a product made with care, made with love, and you can really taste it. So for me, that was part of the big call. I mean, I love whiskey, but to be able to make it and participate in something that is kind of ethereal, you're distilling is a magical process. You're doing all these very scientific, written down things, but the yeast is going to do its own thing. And what is it going to taste like when you extract that element out of it? It's alchemy, and it's a very fun process to be able to participate in. Plus you got to age it, you got to age it for 2, 4, 6, and those are going to change things. And so it's, I think the phrase is a master distiller is a 90-year-old man that's been cooking for 80 years.
Yeah.
Or lady. But really that's, I think what truly takes mastership is seeing the process from start to finish and then doing it again. And if that's not a allegory for life, then I don't know what is.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, plus it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
And James Botek's in the comments here saying, and in a handmade still.
And that's right. I'd like to mention that Shaun is an engineer, and so is his founding partner. They hand built the stills that we make out of now. We actually have everything was hand built. We actually purchased a large kettle, but we run it through a rectification column to complete our triple distillation process, and that's all hand done. We were able to definitely save some money hand making it, which we have a 16-inch diameter column, and we can definitely pull out some wonderful flavors that definitely contributes to the smoothness of the product. Not everybody gets to try it, when it comes out of the still, and a lot of times, you see that guy with the 3 teeth and the sophistication strap with his jug around his finger, and the X is on it, and he takes a swig, and then he blows all the fire out.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like that, but they're never really able to portray how absolutely delicious it is. And it's truly subtle. There's a lot of nuance to it, and you can really see it's the spirit, it's the spirit of the grain or the sugar or whatever you're pulling out at that moment. And it's definitely nice to have some quality equipment to work with.
The spirit of Texas, if you will.
Yeah.
That's my joke.
How long did it take you all to make that still?
Yeah.
To build the still?
Yeah.
It happened over a couple. There was a pilot still crafted, and then there was also. It kind of happened in stages. What it is now, the format it is now, is not how it started. There was a small 2-gallon still with a deflegmator on the top that we hooked up to some hoses and ran out, and you can only get like a quart at a time. And then we beeped up to a bigger kettle, a 75-gallon kettle, and the rectification column has been how it is for a while. But there's definitely an engineer's hand in rearranging all the fun adult Lego pieces that are a still to make the right configuration. So I think it took about 6 months to build because it was all being hand done, and then honestly, it probably took about a year to really get all the pieces configured the way they need to be to what we have now.
Yeah.
And shoot, we got our new kettle, I guess 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So that as most recently as 2 years ago, we've changed our setup and improved it. So that's kind of the running joke at Spirit of Texas is, you haven't been here in 3 weeks. Look how it looks now. Because there's a constant evolution and growth. It's definitely a handmade distillery, not just the stills. So
handcrafted, grain to glass still to everything. Well, Terry Dolan says, sounds like a cool place. You hiring?
I would ask what his qualifications are, and a stipulation, I love whiskey can't be one of them. That's kind of a liability. Plus, we all love whiskey, so you got to take it a cut above. But yeah, I don't know, what are his qualifications?
He's actually the administrator of the Whiskey Tribe for the entire Whiskey Tribe Facebook group, and from Ireland, and he knows quite a bit.
Yeah, he's Irish, right? Need we say more?
Yeah. Well, he can come in, do a good day's work, and we'll see if we can get some use out of him.
All right.
Terry, get you a visa, Terry. Get to get over here. Let's chat with Alicia here because she's been patiently waiting. But you guys talk about not seeing anybody for 3 weeks because you do have a pretty good group of regulars.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
You guys very much are a hometown distillery, and Alicia is testament to that. Alicia, can you talk a little bit about how you came to know them and how you came to be involved with that distillery in general?
I think my first real, I'd heard about it, but it was one of those things that I hadn't made it up there until I actually got connected with the Probst Guild. And James Botek, who was commenting earlier, along with his wife, Karis. And I think there's now 5 or 6 of us on the board. We call Spirit of Texas home. It's the place that we gather and we hang out, and we'll bottle. We'll go and help when they're ready to have a bottling session, and we're pulling bottles and doing all that fun stuff. And I don't know, it's something that Mike said earlier about the difference in how you can tell a handcrafted product from something that's more mass produced and that kind of stuff. Talking about how you can really kind of taste the love and affection that goes into it. And that's how he and Shaun both treat everybody that walks through that door, their family. And so it's really nice just kind of being a part. It's like your local neighborhood Cheers, right? You walk in, everybody knows your name.
Yeah.
It's just a great place to call home. So
do they all yell Alicia when you walk in?
Not unless Woody's there. If Woody's there, he gets a little loud, but.
Well, James says it's the Probst Guild Home Distillery, and that definitely is the case.
Thank you, James. I'm drinking out of my official Probst Guild snifter this evening.
Let me switch to that so that he can see it.
Yeah,
show it back up again. Oh, nice.
Oh, nice. Look at that. Probst Guild. All right.
Very cool.
Oh, James must be drinking a little early. It's the Potopst Guild.
Oh. Well, that's an extra toast, maybe he's excited.
That's right.
Yeah.
Sorry, James. I didn't mean to call you out. It's just funny.
I had to split mine. I've got my certified Texas and my Probst Guild. So
nice.
Really
Perfect.
Nice.
Perfect.
Dale Woodkey, you're talking about Woody. He's they're spectacular people.
Yeah.
And that is everything that I've heard about you guys from before you were on the trail till now, is that there's consistently this family feeling at the distillery.
Yeah.
And you guys got these kind of big cushy couches. You got a place to watch live music. You've kind of got all of the core elements that you need, including, as Brad says, and your beers.
That's right. We do make delicious beer.
So talk a little bit about the brewstillery side of things, because like I said, this is the third consecutive distillery that we've also had a brewstillery side. We did Ranger Creek, then we did Real Ale, and then we did you guys.
Yeah.
Just so happened that we're all alphabetical.
Yeah.
But the brewing side is a little bit newer to you, correct?
It's sort of for our business. Yeah, I started. We both started brewing beer before we started making alcohol. But the brewery came about last year, and the idea kind of started taking shape around February, and we finally got everything to where we could produce and put on tap around November. So it was kind of a laborious process, just waiting for permits and having all the shiny new equipment and not being able to make it anything. But we started off with 4 core beers: a blonde, an amber, an IPA, and a vanilla porter. It's delicious. It's also delicious with a little bit of single malt whiskey in it,
and a little bit of coffee.
That's right.
Okay.
The brewing's different than distilling. It's such a delicate little baby at the end of it, and everything has to be just perfect. I mentioned the kind of unknown element of distilling where nobody can really read the future, and those of us that can won't tell. But with beer, it's the success is almost immediate. After 3 weeks, you've got something there. We're looking to definitely do an experimental program. We've got a lot of barrels sitting around that had some delicious award-winning whiskey recently in them. And we'd like to take some of our Deckerville's beers and put them in there. With the slowdown and everything, we don't have as many people coming and drinking them. So it's kind of like, do I make beer now or do I wait, And there's always a little bit of a lead time.
Yeah.
But yeah, the brewing's been fun. We brought a lot of people by that didn't even know we had whiskey because of the beer. So it's kind of funny how that works.
Yeah, well, I think the first time I came to you guys in official capacity, or visited your distillery in official capacity, Shaun was like building the walls around the fermentation area for the brewing side of the operation,
so cool.
And running the ducts and putting in the aluminum framing and everything. And I was just like, man, this is why I love working with these folks, because every single person is the hardest damn worker that you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
And it's impressive what you guys are able to do. I mean, you're all entrepreneurs, but you're also really hard workers.
Yeah.
Right. It's not like you're looking to be a tech billionaire.
Yeah.
You're actually working to make something with your hands, and it's kind of impressive.
And that's not unique to Spirit of Texas either.
Yeah.
That's kind of, although it's our name and the best pun in Texas liquor, it truly is the spirit of Texas to innovate and to look at an issue or a problem or not even a problem, just look at a dream and say, how can I build a ladder to get there? And that's one of the funnest things about being a part of this community is we have a hand-built still, but you can go see all that kind of stuff at another distillery too, where they've just rigged it up to do this. And there's so many unique setups and unique approaches to liquor in Texas. And I think that's kind of what gives us our edge, because we make something better, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I want to talk a little bit too about kind of how Alicia came to us through all of this and how symbiotic the whole kind of Texas whiskey community is. But
absolutely.
Yeah, we met Alicia on the first day that the trail went live.
Yep, day one.
And Probeskill got a whole group together and we met y'all at Andalusia. It was like super fun. We did our tour and everything. Yeah. And I think your husband Brad was a trailblazer, but you were not yet.
Nope. The other way around. I ended up signing up at Real.
She signed up at Real Spirit.
But Brad had not signed up yet? I thought he had signed up before her.
Well, there was
Brad
a big skill. Alicia, you describe it.
Yeah.
Since you were like our first person,
So, we had gone out, like you said, for the Blanco hat trick. We had aimed to hit Andalusia, Milam and Green, and Real Spirits all in that one day. Thankfully, we rented a van because not all of us needed to be driving when we were done with that trip.
Right.
But James was graciously our designated driver for that particular trip, as a good founder of our group. So sorry. And we kind of started hanging out and chatting, and I saw you a couple of more places here and there. And I think it was because I was in contact with Molly, trying to figure out kind of where my package was, because I was so excited to get my T-shirt, my glass, and my little card and all that fun stuff that I started communicating back and forth. And it was me dropping a line to let you know I'd finally gotten my membership package. And I just dropped a line that said, hey, I do virtual administration. So if you ever need any help, let me know. And then little did you know that packages would become your life for a while.
Yeah, no, I mean, that was such a godsend that she did that, because at the time we didn't need additional help at that point. But actually Molly, who was working for us full time, she decided to kind of go pursue something different. And in the fall or September, late September, I guess, she kind of decided she was going to move on. And we were starting to ramp up towards launching the store. And we knew we were going to fulfill everything in-house. Like we were going to get everything and we would be the ones to actually mail it to all the trailblazers and anyone who ordered something. Because we wanted to make sure we had that kind of hands-on and could know what was going on and we could get stuff to you and all that kind of good stuff. And I was sitting there thinking, I can't do this too. Like I had lots of other things. Actually, the trail is not our primary business, believe it or not. Yeah. We have a little advertising agency, I guess is what you would call it, that we run. And we have several other clients and things that we do. So our time is definitely stretched. And it just came to me. I was like, oh yeah. I think that gal Alicia, she told me she did some stuff. Like maybe she would be interested. And like, poor Alicia, I had you come into the office and like, it was probably the worst interview I could have ever performed. Cause I was just like, so what do you do? And you told me, and I was like, great. Okay. So I'm going to give you these things and these things and these things. And I was like, oh wait, do you want to do this? Here's what we need.
That really was my favorite part of the interview.
Good.
So how are you? Okay, good. Okay.
This is what we have to do.
That? Okay, great. So I want you to do this and this, and we're thinking about handing this off. And I was like, oh, okay, great.
And it has been one of the best things that has happened. And Alicia's great. And so that's who you talk to a lot of times when you're.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anytime you're asking about your membership box, that's who you're talking.
Oh, Trey, we'll get there.
And but this is important. It is 30 minutes in. And
okay.
we do need to start
tasting already, but
so
I'm not the one that counts.
Yeah. So let's get to drinking. Let's start. So again, we've kind of lost the format of this whole thing, but I still have poured the 2 whiskeys, Mike. I poured the Pflugger single malt and the 10-4. I poured it for her blind so that she can try to kind of play around with the different flavors.
Hopefully you made it into the cup.
Yeah, we did. Nice one. Yeah, man, you were like one of the best like bartenders. You got like equipped for everything. I love it.
Thank you.
So if you were to give her a note to look for in each of these whiskeys, what would you say is an identifiable note that you recognize every time you try one of these 2?
With the single malt, no matter if it's being cooked in the still or if I've just opened a bottle, that one right there, I always get notes of banana bread on the nose, and it just smells like a fresh baked banana bread with notes of raw almond. There's a hint of like dark tart cherry to it. It has kind of a pepper smell, but not like a black pepper. It reminds me of almost like cumin. It's very subtle. It comes out more in the taste. That's the rye coming through. But yeah, I don't want to influence the witness. What do you see?
Did you say it kind of reminds you of humid? Is that what you said?
No. Cumin.
Cumin. Okay.
I like that though. It reminds me of human. A time when I was so uncomfortable.
But I think that actually is a note, like humid air, that like especially in Texas where
there's
it's
a thickness to it.
Okay,
exactly.
I didn't know that.
So, based on what he was saying, kind of that almond banana bread, like because I've noticed that significantly that there's a baking spice of some sort, whether it's banana bread or like a pumpkin bread or something like that, where there's like this almondy bit to it, kind of like almond cookie with baking spice layered on top of it. I've noticed that every time with that.
It has a nice, pleasant sweetness to it, and I think that carries, that comes partially from the oak, but the actual distillate, when it comes out, has a nice, pleasant sweetness, and that's that almost kind of like white cake almond sweetness taste you're getting. And I think the baking spice, that's the rye. Rye's for me. I generally don't like I say don't like a rye whiskey, and not because I don't like rye whiskey. It's just oftentimes I find very little difference between a lot of them. If I find a spectacular one, it's amazing. I like spicy, I like pepper, I like robust flavors. But I think, we have 20% rye in ours. It's an 80-20 grain bill, 80% two-row malted barley, 20% rye. And that 20%, when you lighten off a little bit, you get a lot more. You're able to notice some of those flavors, so some of those subtle flavors that can be really, really strong, if you've got it up into the higher percentages. And I think that's what you're getting, the cinnamon, the allspice, black pepper, but not too spicy. It doesn't have like the taste of biting into a piece of black pepper. It's almost like you saw a picture of black pepper.
Oh, that's a good descriptor.
Oh, it is a really good descriptor.
I like
that. Because we do have some international people joining us, I think it's important to distinguish that that there is no definition of single malt in America, right? The word single means kind of whatever. People sometimes use it in different ways. In Scotland and other places, it has very clear definitions. But you guys are using an 80-20, where a malt whiskey, by definition in the United States, is 51% malted barley, right? So any kind of malt whiskey is going to be called a malt whiskey first, but the word single doesn't really have the same identifier. There's the American Single Malt Commission that has other things that they're working on, but I think that's important when you're like, how can you get rye in a single malt? Well, in America you can, because it's a malt whiskey primarily.
Improvements.
It's a very interesting, that is not a normal mash bill that you find, right?
Absolutely. Well, and I think someone once told me,
speaking my language, bread and single malt.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that. Sorry,
Someone once told me that you get a better understanding of a flavor sometimes if you get it in a blend. And I think, I don't know if it's blasphemy or not, but there's a lot of people that mix Scotch and will blend their own. And if it's 2 single malts, well, then you've kind of done that exact thing. And this is just kind of taking that extra step. Plus, it's single. Maybe it wants a date. Who knows? It knows how to pour drinks, so that's a good start.
That's right.
it's smooth. So we'll see. We'll see if it pans out.
It'll creep up on you.
Yeah, absolutely. You be careful.
Yeah.
Like a creepy single.
I'm curious to hear your description of is it 104 or 10-4?
10-4.
Because I think this first one is
you identify. You identified it immediately because you were like, this is it, and I could tell. But
you could tell. I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Oh,
I could just
like
tell
we're
you.
Married or something.
You just stuck to it, and you're like, this is it. This is it.
It was. I got cherry on it. Oh, it was like so cherry, and what's really fascinating to me is even in the last 3 weeks, I've progressed to where notes are starting to, not always. I don't always get one. Sometimes they'll get a memory, and sometimes I'm just like, shit, it just smells like whiskey. What am I going to say? I'm just being really honest. Yeah. But this one,
you think and you sniff. You just
yeah, right. And that's where I go with, this is so good. I really like it. And usually that's and I do. But the whole premise of this thing is I'm supposed to show that I'm learning something. So, doesn't work this time around. But no, this is very strong cherry. And I've never.
Like what kind of cherry? Like that dark cherry that he's talking about, or kind of like a maraschino?
Maraschino.
Really?
Yeah, something like a little more candied, sweet.
What about
lighter than a dark cherry, which is in my mind.
Yeah.
I know. Grain of salt, folks.
Alicia, what do you get on it?
Oh, you're asking me to actually name me? I think I'm less experienced than Sarah is.
I don't know about that, girl.
Oh, come on. You're part of a tasting guild.
Yeah, that doesn't mean I actually know what I'm doing. It means I'm trying to learn.
That's right.
I get the almond, honestly, more than I get the cherry. I get a little bit of that sweetness. I'm not sure I'd go as candied as like a maraschino. But I get the almond, and I get a little bit of those baking spices. I miss the banana, because when I make banana bread, it's like in your face banana bread. But I get those baking spices.
Yeah, see, I'm not getting baking spices or banana. But as soon as he said cherry, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And by the way, I think, Alicia, now you have a new recipe that you have to name in your face banana bread.
Well, you make your banana bread, but then you soak it with a bottle of Spirit of Texas single malt whiskey, and that's definitely going to turn up the in your face factor.
I might need to do that.
Yeah,
that sounds like a wonderful idea.
That's a good life choice.
And then give Sarah the recipe so she can turn it into a brick.
Yes. I was actually going to say I have more sourdough starter if you want.
I don't know. I gave part of it to my mom
earlier this week.
Yeah, I gave part of this starter to my mom, and she actually read. Apparently, you're supposed to knead the bread. I missed those instructions. I really thought I was doing it right, and it was a 1.5 pound brick of bread.
It's a sour brick bread.
Mom says mom will probably make some more for me, so I may just.
There you go.
So back to whiskey. Mike, tell us about 10-4.
Yeah.
10-4 is delicious. It is a 4-year age reserve. It was released for our 10-year anniversary, hence the name. It is it's the same grain bill, 80-20, but we used a different yeast, and the result wasn't anything like our normal single malt. So we decided to barrel age it on No. 4 charred American oak for 4 years. It is released at cask strength, so it is. This bottle is at 49.5, so it's hot.
Yeah,
and that's good. That's what a good whiskey is all about. Mm-hmm. Definitely needs to breathe a little bit, but after about 5 or 6 minutes, you start to smell some of those caramels and vanillas and some of those sweeter flavors from the oak. It definitely has an aggressive punch to it. but that is not in the form of like a hot alcohol taste. The flavor is all there, and it's nice because it lingers. So that gives you time to kind of savor it. I get kind of a brown sugar,
Yeah.
a lot of sweetness in it.
I'm getting
it's hard.
I'm
Drinking
getting a little bit of like tobacco, like
yeah, I can see that.
like natural cigarette tobacco, not like
Yeah.
pipe tobacco or cigar, but kind of like a natural cigarette.
Yeah.
Like
it has kind of a raisin or a date smell.
I can see that
to it, and I've noticed the tobacco flavor you're talking about for me has always kind of smelled and tastes like raisins. And I was going to say that earlier. This has a subtle date to it. It does have a bourbon feel. It almost, there's no corn in it, obviously, but the sweetness is prevalent where kind of gives the illusion of corn, but not too corny.
I feel like I'm getting a little banana bread on this one, but I feel like maybe that's just because we talked about banana bread.
Well, I mean, it is the same mash bill. It's just a different yeast strain and more time, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Give me a minute.
Now, is this a like a batch that you released, or is this like a barrel?
So this is a batch. It consists of a very limited number of barrels. We bottled up several. We are sitting on one. I don't know when we're going to bottle it. We kind of like to leave it in there as long as possible.
Yep.
But it's a very limited batch. We don't intend to remake it, but that's just because we're impatient. But there's not a plan to remake it, but we got the recipe. It is very delicious, and we might start making it along with a couple other experimental products that we are planning to put into production. The 4-year age program is wonderful. We have a couple that have taken some extra time in the barrel, and the results are very pleasant. So I think we're going to pursue that.
They are the smaller bottles.
Yeah, they are the 375s.
But they were still worth the
wait. That's a church bottle. That's all that is. It fits easily in the suit coat pocket, or purse.
Yeah, I like that. Well, it is a Holy Spirit.
Yes.
So
that's right.
There you go.
Blessed.
So Spencer Mav on YouTube says, "Oh, a yeast experiment with the same mash bill. Now I've got to get to Pfluggerville or Texas for that matter." We agree. As soon as all this COVID crap is done, you get down here, man. Plus, I love your name, so you can do that. These are beautiful little bottles, and I love I especially love the cork. I don't even know if you want to call it a cork.
Like that.
It's like a glass decanter.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
With a little silicon stopper on it.
Yeah. That's really cool.
It's just a beautiful, little amazing piece of whiskey.
Thank you.
Yeah,
the label is just gorgeous.
Yeah,
thank you.
Really
we took some time getting that right. It took an excruciating amount of time getting that right, but the results speak for themselves. They're delicious.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So here's a good question from Terry. Again, with American Single Malt, is oak still specified? And can you use cherry or chestnut? I have an answer to that, but I want to see if you do, Mike.
Actually, I don't know. I think we can use a cherry if we wanted to, but we can't really make a cherry barrel. It would be too porous and it'd leak. So we'd have to most likely do a speed age, like a stave or some sort of cube to achieve that. But correct me if I'm wrong.
So it's one of those weird middle ground ones where by law it has to be in an oak container to be considered whiskey, and if you do a secondary wood profile, then it's going to be a distilled spirit specialty. It's no longer going to be a whiskey by category.
There's this spreadsheet we have, y'all. I don't like all the categories, and I'm just thankful it is not my job to keep track of all that. And there's much better.
I'm sitting over here and nerding out a little bit and going, can you send me the spreadsheet?
right?
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
It's all yours.
Well, and I think there's a lot of new innovation and development that are coming, that's happening right now. I mean, Texas is a perfect example. So
Yes.
you're going to see the law when you're blazing a trail. There's always going to be someone trying to catch up, and I think it's going to take a while for the regulatory process to really identify and say, well, okay, look, it's whiskey, or what have you. So I think we're in kind of like a renaissance of alcohol right now, where a lot of stuff is being rediscovered, and we've got the internet. So I could literally teach somebody how to do the process right now, and so there's a lot of growth, and I think in the next 10 years we're going to see a lot of change with regards to people's attitudes on what's traditional and what's well, that can't be this or that isn't that. And I think you're going to see some of the purists change their heart a little bit when they discover some of the delicious things we're doing here in Texas.
Yeah, I agree. And Terry follows up and he says Middleton has a cherry cask whiskey out at the moment and a chestnut one that's one of the most interesting Irishes that he's ever had. And I agree, Terry. It's I think in Colorado there's a whiskey that either is finished or rebarreled in aspen wood, and
cool.
which I think is really fun and interesting. I know some people here in Texas would talking about like, hey, maybe we can do like a mesquite barrel or something like that, but it's like, again, you're dealing with really crooked grains on the wood, and it's not going to barrel very easily. So but we are doing, mesquite smoked malted grains and stuff like that. So one of the things I love the most about it, to your point, Mike, is that the experimentation is kind of unfettered, except by how you define it when you have to label it on the bottle. And,
absolutely.
But if you know that that's a whiskey distillery and you know that they have lots of good products, you go to Balcones and a lot of people will be like, hey, Rumble is my favorite thing. A lot of people will say Rumble's my favorite whiskey that you make. And it's like, well, it's technically not a whiskey at all. It's mission pigs and sugar and, all these other things. It's a distilled spirit specialty, but it's delicious. And it's like a whiskey drinker's rum or whatever you want to call it. And it's just fantastic. And, even though we're the Whiskey Association, playing with spirits and having fun with it, it's kind of the name of the game. And that's what all about at Probst, right, Alicia?
Yeah, I'm actually super excited. We just added a board member that their whole focus, and I'm sorry, Travis Kinney. I was going to say his name just completely escaped me. His whole focus now is to look at other spirits. So he's going to be looking at the rums and the tequilas and the mezcals and all of that fun stuff that's not technically whiskey, because we're fond of saying that the favorite bottle is the one that you enjoy drinking. And it doesn't matter whether it's a whiskey or a rum or, whatever. And so it's been a lot of fun being a part of that group and a part of the trail, a part of the whole journey. This last year has just been like, you say it's great that I'm working for you. I'm just happy to be here.
Yes, it's a mutual love, I think.
Oh, for sure.
So, absolutely.
Well, speaking of trailblazers, what can they kind of expect when they come and visit y'all?
You'll find me working the bar. You can expect, I'm sure, a thrilling tour.
Yes.
We have over 30 cocktails on your menu. We have a wall full of beer. So, when it comes to just the normal amenities, there's definitely choices to be had. The Trailblazer can expect some discount on some merch. We also do a free tasting that includes a shot glass. We also like to hand out perks at random. When we find out you're in the club, so to speak, we definitely have some VIP tour opportunities that can happen at the distillery.
Fantastic.
So we kind of play it by ear, but we definitely like to take care of our Trailblazer members.
Yeah, well, we appreciate it. And as soon as this whole shelter in place thing is over, then we expect a lot of you guys to go out and make your way out there, because you guys joined the trail officially in 2020. So you're our newest member on the trail. And right now you're in the Hill Country section. So for those of you that may not be aware, the Texas Whiskey Trail is broken into sections because each section in and of itself geographically is about as big as the Bourbon Trail in Kentucky. Right. So it's, you got North Texas, Hill Country, South Texas, and Gulf Coast. And South Texas starts at San Antonio and kind of works its way south. Gulf Coast obviously hugs the entire Gulf Coast region of Texas. You guys are in the Hill Country section now because you're kind of close to the Austin region. But you are in a unique geographic position in the state of Texas because you're east of 35, between northeast of Austin. You're not necessarily in the Hill Country proper anymore. You're kind of in this Brazos Valley Basin area that leads to the Brazos Valley or Brazos River. You guys have an interesting climate, interesting terroir. What do you guys do to play with that, or do you experience? I noticed that you guys have a unique whiskey, and I have a feeling that beyond yeast and other things, it has something to do with a little bit of a difference from all the climate regions in the Hill Country even. So, like, what do you guys experience, and what do you think it has to do with your location in Pfluggerville?
Shoot, a number of things. First off, we are the only city that starts with a PF. That could be it. Oh, no. We do all our aging in a sealed shipping container, and it gets pretty hot pretty quick. I mean, you guys know the Texas heat. Pfluggerville is no different. Yeah. It's very humid, but I do my best not to peek in on them while they're sleeping. And I try not to disturb them too much. We got to agitate and check on them and make sure they're doing okay. But I don't know. I can't tell the weather. But I think it gets hot in those shipping containers. It's 140 degrees, on a midsummer day. And if you think about Ireland and Scotland and traditional locations for aging, just the amount of fluctuation with temperatures here is astounding.
Well, I mean, today we had a cold front.
We can do what?
I was saying today we had a cold front and dropped it about another 20, 25 degrees.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's there's subtle changes through the summer. It gets hot and stays there, but it can freeze for a couple of weeks during the winter. And that rapid shift over a few years definitely takes its toll on the whiskey in a positive way.
Yeah.
One thing that's interesting to me is, Mike mentioned they all get sealed in that shipping container, and that's where they age. They're not in an open rick house. Mm-hmm. So you don't have that air movement necessarily going through like you would in a rick house. So I don't know if that has anything. I'm not a distiller. I'm not in any way, educated in that field, but I'm wondering if that has something to do with it.
Most likely. I mean, the environment, the atmosphere inside the container, as I said, when it gets hot, the whiskey, we have a whiskey container, a storage container, and a rum container, and the whiskey especially, when it's midsummer, that's the Spirit of Texas challenge. Can you walk to the back of the shipping container midsummer, right when it's opened up, and stand there for 30 seconds? I bet you can't. Most people can hold their breath that long, but they neglect to close their eyes, and just the amount of alcohol that's basically in the air in there is astounding. And so there's no oxygen; it's all alcohol vapor.
Yeah.
And so we keep that closed, and it has a vent, so it does breathe and it does have some flow. But you're right, that most likely has an effect. More experimentation is needed.
Yeah.
And Terry says it's a lovely sunny day there in Ireland, and it almost reached 50 degrees Fahrenheit. I mean, for comparison, and by the way, we're not the only place in the world that has temperature swings.
No,
we just have them very, very frequently.
Yes.
And it's not just temperature; it's also barometric pressure. It's humidity because we have the Gulf of Mexico pushing up. Sorry, I feel like Jim Spencer now talking about weather. But
that's his idol.
That he is. Jim Spencer, if you're ever watching this, please, I want to get an autograph.
Like the one person you'd want to get an autograph.
It is. He's like, I'm a fanboy of a weatherman.
Oh my gosh.
But seriously, like you get these Gulf moisture pushes up and it makes its way to Central Texas.
Yeah.
Then you'll get like a huge storm like we had today.
Mhm.
I think it was 89 yesterday, 90 degrees. Today, right now it's 54. Sunday again, it's going to be 89.
Yeah, basically Texas just can't make up its mind.
That's right.
Yeah, it's bipolar.
It took her forever. She came from Seattle where it's 45 degrees to 65 degrees every day.
Yeah,
no
and you
matter
could like
what.
look out your window and determine like what you need to wear, what it's going to feel like. You can't do that here. But that's one of the things I love about it. I love having the sun out all the time, and it's one thing that helps make damn good whiskey.
Oh, it definitely does. Definitely does. Plus, it's Texas, so it's better just because.
Yeah. So, well, I know where we're going. First stop.
First stop on the trail after this is over.
And check in, and do all the things because this is delicious.
Delicious.
You can totally come and check in if you're driving around. I basically live. I mean, I'm in my house now, but I basically live there. So you know, our normal hours, our hours are Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. You know, but we're open for bottle sales Thursday 1 to 5, Friday 1 to 7, Saturday 1 to 5. We can't make cocktails. I can tell jokes. I don't know how good they are without the booze, but
they're still totally worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ah, good.
Well, you know, desperate times.
Yeah.
Desperate beggars.
Right. These are the survival jokes.
Our ability to laugh, we're all doomed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is important though, and we say this every night. If you can make your way to a distillery, especially a local one, you know, look, Jack Daniel's is fine. All the big national brands are fine. There's nothing wrong with those brands.
Right.
But guess what you could do that would help some folks? If you can make it to a distillery, you can socially distance. You can do all the things you have to do. And you can still buy 2 bottles.
And if you don't need a bottle for yourself, get it as a gift. Either one of these would be an awesome present.
Yeah.
And if you bought a little bottle, you can get 4 of them.
Yeah, and get some and give it to Alicia to make banana bread that she can then give to me.
Yeah. In your face banana bread.
You don't need to know anything else for that.
I was going to say, Sarah, earlier you mentioned that you were always on kid duty. I see a mom date in our future.
Yes,
we
I agree.
Need to sneak away and spend some time with Mike.
Yeah, if I thought I was on kid duty before.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, this is like on steroids.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like back to when they were babies, only even more.
Yeah, and the governor just canceled school for the rest of the year, so yay! So
that's we should have more cheering for that. All of us wanted that to happen at some point in our life. There was a dream at one point, and the government's going to shut it all down today and no school. Yeah, well, we're adults now, so we don't get to enjoy it as much. But
no, not at all.
It's a cruel joke.
Right now is the one that says in 20 years we'll be depending on kids who were educated by or were homeschooled by day drinkers.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah,
that's gonna make some really, really good whiskey. I mean,
damn right.
Yeah, my kid knows how to make alcohol. Yeah. He's never done it.
There you go.
But he knows how to do it.
There you go.
All right. Well, what else can people do to support you guys? Website, you have merch, things that they could buy, things that they could do to support Spirit of Texas?
We do have a website. It's spiritoftx.com. Some of our merchandise is for sale. We can't ship any bottles, obviously, but you can purchase them there and pick them up at the facility. We also do growler fills. I mean, we can't make cocktails, so we can't have a big crowd come in. But if there's something you can do in your community where you can go out and help someone that is in need, I think that would be the best thing you can possibly do.
Absolutely.
You know, we can have fun drinking whiskey as much as we want, but you know, there's people that are suffering out there.
Yeah.
And you know, if your time and your energy need to go to that, then make it happen.
Yeah.
That'd be my suggestion.
Yeah.
And don't forget to enjoy whiskey after you do so, because you'll be a good person, and there's no greater reward than a whiskey and being a good person.
Well, cheers
to that. I don't think we can end it on a better note.
Cut this off right now before we ruin it.
So cheers to that.
Cheers.
Mike, thank you so much. Cheers to you. Alicia, thank you for everything you do.
We love you, Alicia.
To your health, we appreciate you. And when we leave, just like we have every night, we're going to show a little video of Spirit of Texas so that you that are not or have not made it there yet can get a little glimpse of what it's like to be there while you're staying at home for now.
Yeah.
So thank y'all. Thank you for a great week. We'll see you guys. Oh wait, we got to plug this. Sorry.
Yeah, Mondays. I was like, what are you doing? We have to talk about Monday.
We have to talk about Monday because this all just came together this week and it's going to be huge. On Monday, we are going to have this amazing lineup of guests.
I can't even believe this is happening. Honestly, like these ladies have been so generous with their time, their willingness to come on. It started as a little mustard seed of an idea that I had about like, let's chat with some Kentucky folks. Like, surely they could have some great, things to teach me about nosing and tasting, all that kind of stuff. And it's turned into what I think is going to be a amazing episode.
Yeah.
So make sure you watch.
So watch this. It's Peggy No Stevens, the founder of the Kentucky Bourbon Trail, founder of Bourbon Women, Bourbon Hall of Famer, just amazing trailblazer in her own right. Susan Riegler, also past president of Bourbon Women, amazing author and taster. Yeah. Victoria Edie Butler, who is the 5th generation master blender at Uncle Nearest.
Yeah, she's like the great, I don't know if there's a third great granddaughter of Uncle Nearest, who was the first African American distiller on record.
And taught Jack Daniel how to make Tennessee whiskey. And Maggie Kimbrell, who writes for American Whiskey Magazine, amazing author and journalist in her own right. So we're gonna sit with them on Monday and talk about how their influence in Kentucky and Tennessee has influenced Texas and what the future of whiskey trails can be. Absolutely. And we couldn't be more honored to have them on.
We're excited.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. So cheers to everybody. You guys have a great weekend,
y'all.
and we will see you guys very soon. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye, guys.